But now to one of the biggest headlines coming out of the Jennifer Lopez Netflix documentary titled Halftime, which is documenting her experience as a co-headliner at Super Bowl 2020. Now, she said in this that got a lot of headlines that she didn't actually want to share the stage with Shakira during that Super Bowl 2020 halftime show, and I found this very confusing. First, though, I need to give some credit to J-Lo for being honest about this, even in an era where any criticism of a woman, and especially woman to woman criticism, is a risk and has the potential to be horrible for your image. Unfortunately for Jennifer, I think this risk did not pay off, at least in the short term, because it contradicts many narratives about this event in particular, those being the praise of NFL for putting two Latina women on the big stage in Miami after years of criticism for the NFL not tailoring their halftime show to the city hosting. And also, there was an overwhelming, from what I see, or at least overall, well received, enjoyable halftime by most accounts, myself included, because I love Latin pop music and think they are both great performers. And I thought it was actually really well produced, minus any of the potential subtle, questionable symbolism that I could do without. But I believe the ratings and viewership were even really good compared to previous years. So now this event has this stain on it thanks to Jennifer Lopez. Now, in the short term, Jennifer does look like a diva and selfish and unsupportive of a fellow Latina woman in the industry. And it also opens the door for her past comments criticizing other women in the industry to resurface. This is also reminding us that Jennifer Lopez is not perfect and doesn't have the best track record in some respects. However, long term, I think Jennifer Lopez could come out better after this, as it does show her as a more human than recent praise by media and fans would lead you to believe her to be this kind of unattainable figure. Now, maybe this documentary and revelations in it is her trying to lower the bar of expectations for herself as a result of high expectations because of all these outside sources holding her to such a high standard. But also, this maybe was a let it all out, come to Jesus, grounding herself moment. And I say maybe because although that is the possible reason now, and she may be learning a lot of lessons now, I think back then when this was filmed, almost 3 years ago, J-Lo, I think, missed the lesson and the ego check, wink, wink, hint, hint by the NFL of maybe you aren't as big of a star worldwide as you thought. Sure, we can celebrate you as a Latina American pop star, but that doesn't make up for the factual data supporting your star power. Maybe you and Shakira are bigger stars around the world, but in America, they needed both of you to have it be the big thing they want it to be. Or maybe one of you is big in America and the other is bigger around the world. So having both of you together reaches more people for both of you, meaning if you want to grow your international base, you team up with an American person or vice versa. And when you put you two together, it's beneficial to all of you. You both get to share audiences and cross promote, and the NFL gets not only an American audience, but a worldwide audience as well. Also, the claim by J-Lo that her and Shakira needed their singing moments to sing their messages was kind of interesting because I get what she's saying as far as sending a message they want to as artists, but also J-Lo and Shakira aren't exactly known as vocalists in the industry. I would say more Shakira than Jennifer, who is more known and started as a choreographer and dancer and then went into acting and singing. But also, it is a skill to be able to communicate your message in an abbreviated form and also forces you to pick your top issues to put out there. And I think J-Lo accomplished that by her artistically showing the whole kids in cages thing with her daughter singing during the Let's Get Loud and Born in the USA medley interlude with her wearing the Puerto Rican flag. So she got creative in the short amount of time to send the message she wanted to. And as an artist, I would think she would be up for that challenge, considering how big this platform is for any artist. But I think she also needs to kind of check herself about that, in that this was a halftime show for the main draw of a football game, American football game. This was not her concert. So as far as the co-headline criticism, there were many years in the early 2000s for sure when there were many co-headliners and or a headliner who brought in a lot of guests and the headliner only got one or two songs and the rest were collaborations on stage. So it hasn't been the same standard every year for the Super Bowl. and it still just comes off as kind of entitled and ungrateful on J-Lo's part. But now to more fallout extending to everyone besides J-Lo and her camp, who are now on the defense in this really weird spot for something that happened almost 3 years ago. Now, anyone involved in decision making has to now address if they did pit two Latina women against each other. And is the claim by Jennifer's manager, Benny Medina, that this was an insult to Latinas of needing two of them to do the job of one by many in past occasions? Is that true? Or was it really what I said before of both women having different audiences when together was beneficial for everyone involved? Because at the end of the day, it is a business. And also goes back to my point of maybe the truth is that not all headliners are created equal. Now let's for a moment say maybe Jennifer in some world got the solo headline gig. I want to know, would she have brought Shakira on as a guest? Or vice versa, if Shakira was the headliner, would she brought J-Lo on? Or would one of them, if they got the single headline treatment, not bring anyone on and just hog the stage for themselves? Or is this J-Lo saying that she doesn't think Shakira deserved to be on the stage with her and thinks she's kind of higher than Shakira? I don't know, but it's framed as a victim mentality that maybe she's trying to say she's better than everyone, but wants the victim input so that way she doesn't get as much backlash. But personally, I am seeing through it. Overall, though, I think the bigger impact on the industry is now a question of if there is actually room for everyone, and also shows the trade-off and how it's the whole diversity initiatives, while great in some aspects, are not perfect as much as the people pushing those agendas would like us to believe. But let me know what you think of this emerging feud between Jennifer Lopez and Shakira in the comment section. Thank you for joining me for this news live chat segment taken from the full broadcast. Click around the channel for more as always. Thank you for having me in your online life, and I will talk to you next time.